Hi guys, how are you doing? This is Madhvi from TaroticallySpeaking.com and welcome to the third decan, the final decan of Aries, which is Venus in Aries, which is also our Four of Wands. Okay, this decan starts on the 11th of April and it ends on the 20th of April. So these are the 10 days which are associated with Venus in Aries and our Four of Wands card. Okay, so before, I'm sure you must have noticed, so I love making these presentations in my Keynote app, as you can I'm sure you must have realized by now. But also, what happened was I found that I was able to put all the cards together in one place with all my notes and everything. So kind of making these keynotes has become like a way for me to study, I guess. So it's all in one place. And I can also export it as a PDF. So there's multiple ways I can leverage this. But again, just before we get into it, I'm just saying, do you like me presenting the whole information in this way, or in this the whole mess of cards on the on the table way? Whatever, you let me know when you watch this video. Let me know what you prefer, and I will try to do my best. But I mean, I kind of naturally gravitate to this method. It's kind of like I write it down, I make notes, I'm also making the presentation, and so it's kind of me making, I'm a digital girl, I guess, and so it's me studying these. This is how I make my notes. I make study materials. All right, so getting back to the thing, but I will await your feedback. So let me know if you prefer the the that way better or this way better, or you're okay with either way. I'm cool with either, I guess, but I prefer this. But tell me what you prefer though. Okay, nevertheless, let's get back to it. Four of Wands, Venus in Aries, right? And just before we go ahead, another thing I would like to say, that actually Venus is gonna go into Aries, but it will be the 30th of April when it will move into Aries. Like, so it's gonna be, we are gonna be in a completely different decan then. But like, it would have been damn cool if it would have happened now, but okay, we'll take that, right? So let's understand the energy of the decan before we kind of get right into it. So here we have these two cards. This was actually the biggest advantage of doing this PPT, is that, hey, I can, you can see the cards and the information all together, and I'm not like hunting around for the information. So anyway, this third decan of Aries, right? Venus in Aries. And we also see this image here. Uh, there are slightly different versions of this description, right? But it kind of more or less talks about an angry reddish man, or a man with red hair, or a man wearing red clothes, right? There's a whole bunch of red there. There's an unyielding look. He holds a sword, or he holds a wooden bracelet or a gold bracelet, right? And he is skillful in iron fabrication. Is this an iron thing or a wooden rod? I don't know. And here I don't. Here's just the golden bracelet, but there's also this Cupid's arrow thing, which is in another description. But there is the red clothes, and I think apart from the whole look and the wood or gold bracelet and all of that, he wants to do good but cannot. That's the vibe of this particular decan. Okay, so therefore it's connected with Cupid's arrow, and the energy is of ensnarement, right? This is the third decan, so from 21st to the 30th degree of Aries, the last decan of Aries. So it's like the very last 10 degrees where we have Venus now. So where initially we had that angry man, the first decan was that a very angry man with the axe, and the second decan was the lady with the green dress. So now we have this fellow with the red dress, and he's got that. Even here you see him holding like a wooden bracelet, and there's a gold bracelet, so one of those. So I don't know what that bracelet could be related to, that ensnarement maybe, or Cupid's arrow is there. There's some sort of subtle energy, some compulsion, new things and instruments. These were the meanings I got from the Picatrix book. So this is an interesting thing. Now, in this card, we do see this character from the Decan showing up. And when I do have a lot of interesting information about these other images we see in this card as well, but I'll talk about it a little bit later when we look into that card itself. But here we're just focusing on the energy of the Decan. So with Venus in Aries, this Decan does talk about some sort of, energy where you are maybe luring someone. There's some subtle flow of or vibes going on. There's something new. There's some mastery and some, unyielding energy, I suppose, with Aries. That's to be expected. So we do have that energy, into play. That's the energy of the Decan. Okay. So with that, now let's look at the planet. Our planet for this one is Venus. Okay. And Venus it's got all sorts of different associations. If you see this card, the keyword here is beloved, right? And most of us, we do look at Venus, and we are, often Venus is pretty obviously connected with love and romance and lovers and, all that. But it's a little bit more. In fact, it's a lot more. In astrology, Venus is associated with the beauty of things. It's about art. It's about the artist. It's about the way, how aesthetically or how pleasingly, how beautifully you have, how you have maintained, say, your environment, right? It's about how you express yourself, how beautifully you express yourself, or how beautifully you say, I don't know, draw, paint. And even if drawing, painting, singing, all those kind of typical artistic expressions are part of Venus's sort of domain, but anything, even if there's a lot of beautiful Venus energy, say, with femininity and beauty and harmony there. But for example, let's say you may not be very artistically inclined, but let's say you have a very beautiful Venus energy around you. You might love, decorating your environment in a way that is so beautiful. Even if it is simple, it's pleasing. Even if it's, even if you may have an eye for art, you may have an appreciation for art. That kind of is a big Venus trait, right? It is a very feminine energy. It's about beauty and harmony, right? It's about, bringing various disparate things together and making them kind of work, right? That's the harmony of Venus. It's about affection. It's about attraction. It's your charm. It's your style, right? But other than that, Venus also talks about values. It's about how you value yourself. It's about your self-worth. It's about also what you value, right? In other things or other people around you. What are the values that you place on various things, people, personalities, traits, what have you, all the different things in life. Because of this whole thing with love, romance, and art and everything, it's also about creation and creativity. And because we have all this beautiful aesthetic, the love of all the beautiful things, this Venus is associated with luxury, with money, with wealth. It's about pleasure. It's about this this whole abundant energy. And then it's also about how you interact with people, your friendships, how how generous you are. Okay. Now all this is fine. This is the lovely, lovely part of Venus. But remember, everything goes also in the negative side, right? On the negative side, when taken to extreme, this Venus energy can become vanity, right? When you start looking at your own beauty as, oh, I'm so beautiful. You get into that whole vain space, right? This can become very superficial. It can be about, all the superficial things about money, beauty, everything. All this can, go that extra step to the other side of the spectrum, and it's a little darker side. This can become, your friendships, your ability to navigate relationships in a pleasing way can also become manipulated. So yeah, there is a darker side to Venus as well, just like every other planet. So there is that angle there with Venus. Okay. So now let's look at our tarot cards that are associated with Venus. So again, here we are, just like the emperor, our empresses here, we see them with the shields here. One, you see this one, the Marseille empress. Then we have the Thoth empress. We also have the Telos tarot empress here. This is the moon, by the way, right? Here we see the moon too. It's very interesting. Several Thoth traditions will have moon here, but your Rider-Waite has the moon in the High Priestess. But yeah, you do see the glyph of Venus as well in the Rider-Waite, and these are pomegranates, and they kind of sort of also look like the glyph of Venus too. And of course, they're all pregnant, right? So we have, let's go one by one. We have all these beautiful growing crops and trees and what have you, the stars in the crown. We have stars in the crown here with the telos as well, right? All this is about Mother Nature, right, with the stars. It's also connected with I guess, the goddess Ishtar. Yeah, we'll talk about that too in a bit. We have abundance, we have growth. They're almost always connected with pregnancy and motherhood because the Empress represents mother energies, the mother archetype. So, and they are often depicted as being pregnant. So there is that. We have beauty, we have the nurturing vibe. With this Marseille Tarot Empress, we see her sitting on this throne, which is very light blue. Light blue, as I said earlier, is in an earlier video, light blue is the color of spirituality in this deck, right? So she has a very spiritual sort of throne that she sits on. We also have this beautiful blue here. So this is, again, it's emotions. This red is passion, green is fertility. So there's all these different associations here. We have that eagle, which is like this emblem of being regal and royal. I think, is that a flower here? But there's definitely lotuses here, right? This is again a flower associated with beauty and spirituality. We do see the swan here, right? Again, a bird associated with fertility and beauty. So yeah, see this one, she is associated with heritage, the family heritage. There's divinity, there's the Mother Earth energy. Then we have, she's sensuous, she's feminine, the sexuality and softness. Here again, the Thoth Empress. She's, I think, one of the most beautifully sweet and sensually drawn cards in the deck. We have the doves here. We also have doves. Do we have doves here? Doves are also a bird associated with Venus. Remember that. And so, yeah, there's harmony, there's femininity, beauty, love, vegetation, the growing things, vegetation. Then we have, of course, passion, pregnancy, fertility. And, there's that green fertility energy, right? We see the different phases of the moon. Again, moon bringing that feminine energy into play. And you do see that here as well. We have this beautiful moon energy. And then it's all about love, beauty, creativity. There's the maternal instinct, arts, pleasure, all of that. Now, there's an interesting connection with, doorways, right? I mean, in Telos Tarot, she's shown in a doorway. I did read in the write-up for this Empress, the Thoth Empress, about doorway. It comes from this, the Hebrew word, I believe, forgive me if I'm pronouncing this incorrectly, but it's Daleth, Daleth. The word means doorway. Okay. And so she's the doorway. I liked how Lon Milo Duquette put it in his book. It's the doorway of life, right? She gives birth. She's the mother. So she's the doorway through which life is entering the picture. So yeah, that's the doorways and births connection here. Okay. So this is the Empress card, which is associated with Venus in our tarot deck. Okay. Now let's look at the sign. Now we have looked at Aries in the previous two videos, so I'm not going to dwell here a lot. But yeah, a quick overview. Aries is about sort of, starting something, beginning something. Therefore, it has all those different attributes associated with initiating and starting something. So we have the pioneering energy. Aries also has energy and vitality and courage, and it's kind of fearless because ruled by Mars, it has that energy just kind of built in, baked in, right? It is adventurous, it is bold, it's headstrong and spontaneous. But the flip side, or the rather, negative-ish side, is that they could be very rude and offensive, like straightforward. Some people don't have that kind of subtlety. Sometimes they'll tell you like it is, and you may not necessarily, they don't have a sweeter, nicer way of telling it, which some people might appreciate, some people may not appreciate. They don't have that subtlety. They could get, very egotistical and aggressive and rebellious. So, or reckless, of course. So, and the energy here, the keyword here is act. So they're all about, taking action. So now, uh, yeah, the tarot card associated, of course, is Aries, is the Emperor. And this is interesting. So now with Venus in Aries, and we've looked at the Emperor, so I'm just going to quickly have an overview. As we can see, except for the Marseille Emperor, everything, all the Rider-Waite, Thoth, and even in the Telos, we'll see this whole energy, red energy, right? The Mars energy. And we also see these mountains here, right? The barren mountains, the hardships, the difficulties that they have overcome. The pose with the leg, which looks like a 4, right? Associated with this number 4 here, right? Which is about stability that and structure. We see the eagle here again, right? A symbol of, the regal power. We see the scepter, and we see the orb, right? All of this together, again, this is about ruling, this is about being the protector, this is the father archetype, this is your warrior energy, this is nobility, right? They can be dominating and tyrannical, they can be strict disciplinarians, they can be very creative and authoritative, and they can be very, very, Aries. So they take charge and they go for it and they make it happen. And yeah, as you can see here, we have the very tiny river here. So again, the emotional content is not there. And this is very significant here because this is what I believe the Empress brings to the table. So in this particular decan, where we are going to see the Emperor and the Empress in our tarot, they're coming together, Venus and Aries. She brings her beauty, she brings her abundance, she brings her fertility, she brings all that. Right? It's like here we have this guy sitting in this very harsh, very red, very, very bright, very, like it's like there's no shadows really. I mean, except this guy, he's got a shadow. But so like he's sitting there in the hot, hot sun, and she's gonna bring that lush garden and flowing river and on the flowers and the fruits and beautiful, beautiful creative energy, and she's gonna bring that into his life. I mean, wow. Think about that. What a romance. So, what happens when we have the planet in the sign? And this is the card from the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. This one is very aptly titled Lust. So here again, this very interesting picture. We have the volcano, which represents the Aries energy. It's all, the volcano is erupting as well. So we have that whole blazing fire, just like saying, hey, let's go. We have this very beautiful woman. That's your Venus. Yeah, she's coming here. She's like, hey, let's go. And then we also have this chameleon, which is a very interesting symbol here because the chameleon, as we all know, changes color depending on their surroundings. And this is kind of also one shade of Venus and Aries, is where maybe Aries or maybe Venus or maybe both of them will kind of just, become what the other person wants. Maybe it's a temporary thing, maybe it's a long-term thing, but they will become what the other wants so that they can, be with that person. So here again, they have the keyword for Venus is love, and for Aries, it's self will. So with Venus and Aries, we have love and self will combining. So it is about, the enthusiasm, it's affectionate, it's very, the energy, the person or the energy of this, combination is very determined. They have good taste. They can be positive and cheerful and warm hearted and, loyal. There's artistic creativity, but then appearances will matter. With Venus, of course, yes, appearances will matter. So it has, no matter what happens, it's got to look good. um, on the other end, there's a lot of that impulsive Aries energy, the willfulness. Even Venus can become very willful with her vanity, with her beauty. That can bring a very unstable vibe. Yeah, there's this whole attention seeking, attention demanding kind of a thing. It's about being competitive, whether it's in partnership or wherever, like together. It could be like a relationship where both partners are competitive. Who can outshine the other? It's like a love competition, like who can love each other better or more. Something like that. It's like they really can get it on. Yeah, I mean, what do you expect? It's a wild love affair. It could be a brief one as well, but definitely a wild one. This can be a love battle. This can be a relationship where they're fighting, but that is what gets things going for them. Like, I don't know if some of you might know a couple like that. They're constantly fighting, but my God, does that heat things up for them, right? And then they get it on. This is basically a very, very interesting depiction of this Venus and Aries energy. It's like, ooh, right? Now, briefly, let's also look at the number 4, right? 4 of Wands. 4 is a number of stability. It's about creating a good foundation. It's about establishing order and structure. But then this number can also create a little rigid energy, and, left to its own devices, 4 can also bring about stagnation. We see that very interestingly with the 4 of Cups, right? Like if you leave, say, a cup of water, right? Even if it's covered, even if it's whatever, you keep it just like that for a couple of days more, the water, somehow tastes a little bit different. That's your stagnation. So yeah, that's the energy. But yeah, but that's like taken to the extreme. Any energy like this, with the number, with the cards, with the planets, whatever, it's always on a spectrum. I like to say it's always going from one end to the other. Now it all depends on how that energy is, used or brought into play. So let's look at our main characters, our tarot cards, because now that we've understood Venus and we've looked at Aries, now let's see how they show up in our tarot cards. Let's start with our favorite Rider-Waite, Rider-Waite-Smith. So this is lovely. We see these 4 wands, we see these beautiful, fruits and flowers. There's a celebration. We see the castle there. That could be the Empress castle. Why not? And now that the Empress has come in, bringing her garden and the flowers and the fruits, they decide to have a party. And this is the card of celebration. This is also the card of marriage. Because remember, most marriage ceremonies, traditional marriage ceremonies, and again, this is a cross culture that I have seen. So it's not just, the Western cultures like your Christian or Jewish religion. We have something similar even in the Hindu religion, where there are 4 points or 4 pillars, you could say, and then there's like a canopy or something. So there's always that structure, and the rituals are happening underneath that. So it's interesting, just saying. So we have, therefore, there's a connection with marriage. It's harmony, but it's also passion and leadership and success. So this card, while it may talk about a celebration or a marriage, it can also talk about leadership. It's where, if you remember the previous two cards, where in the Two of Wands, that guy has embarked on that adventure. He's like, okay, I have the globe in my hand and I'm going to just go do this. And in the Three of Wands, he's set things in motion. He's observing everything from top of that cliff there, and he's like, okay, things are moving and everything is going well. Well, things have gone well for him, and he is having a party. He has created his success. He has gone and met his empress, I guess, and now he's found the right people. He's met the right people. He's also tasted success, and he's just very, very happy, right? So this is the energy here. Now let's look at the Marseille Tarot. This is interesting too, because while we have these leaves bringing the necessary sustenance here, we see two different flowers. Again, flowers is flowering, so there's something happening here. This looks like an older flower. This looks like a younger flower. This is important. And then we see these two wands, four wands, my bad. Four wands kind of crisscrossed with each other. But look at how they are crisscrossed. It's not a free-flowing energy here. If you see this part, you'll see that they are kind of locked. They can't move. They're kind of stuck. And that's one of the meanings as stalemate, right? This dynamic movement has kind of gotten frozen here. This stuckness has created a very suppressed, tensed energy, right? So while there is still something happening, this tension could be very much necessary. It's kind of, with that Venus and Aries energy, where Venus is bringing all that aesthetic, very, very luxurious, very lush vibe, and Aries is just like, oh, let's go, let's go, let's go. It's like the volcano, but then here we have Venus being all sexy and whatever. So you have the volcano and the sexy woman, and that whole energy, just that very interesting tension. We can perhaps see that here, right? That yes, they are locked, but that is still there. The passion is brimming. The flower. Oh, sorry. My bad. My bad. So the passion is still brimming, and the flower is still flowering, right? So there's something still happening here. There's that a lot of evolution under the surface, even with that tension. So again, with the energy of 4, we do see a bit of a rest also that happens, like with the movement. Now you can stop, take a break, celebrate, have a party, and you can prepare for the future and enjoy what you have so far created. So we do see that vibe here, all the shades of 4 showing up in this Marseille Tarot card. In our fourth card, this one is also called completion. Yeah. So yeah, we have accomplished something. These doves are a symbol of Venus. So we have the doves and the rams of Aries. So we have 4 wands now, right? With one end we have doves, on the other end we have the rams. So doves and rams. And these 4 wands again go crisscross, creating like an 8-spoked wheel, right? So this is the wheel of completion. Okay. And there's the fire and then the green color of Venus here, right? And so this is all about completion. It's about settlement. It's an arrangement, kind of meaning, yeah. It's about rest after labor. So something beautiful has been set in motion. The wheels are turning. Things are happening. You have completed what you had to complete. And so now things are moving and happening, right? You have accomplished it. You have become, like, you have maybe, attained some sort of perfection here. But you can rest now, right? This is a very clever thing, something you have done. There is beauty here, success, and it's very, we have subtlety, reasoning, graceful. We have all these different meanings that the book says, right? So we have all this beautiful energy happening here. But let's see. This is the fun card. We have our Picatrix Decan fellow with the red dress and the wooden bracelet and what have you. But behind him, do you see this goddess with the wings and all of that? this is goddess Ishtar. Okay, so this is a very interesting bunch of symbols here. I'm gonna talk about it. So this goddess Ishtar actually is also known as Inanna in some circles. I think in Babel, Ishtar was early Mesopotamian goddess, and Inanna was from Babylon and Sumeria. So all, different goddesses. As it often happens that when we have all these conquering tribes, or often cultures, spread across land. Uh, there's a lot of similarity, and as cultures conquer each other, they can absorb each other's deities. So if you're wondering where in the world today, modern world, would you see Mesopotamia, Babylon, and Sumeria, it would be your Iraq, parts of Iraq, Iran, Syria, Kuwait, and Turkey. So it kind of covers, roughly a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So that's the area we are looking at. You can even Google the Epic of Gilgamesh to learn more about Ishtar's interesting story. Even her name, Ishtar, like if you if you think about it, it sounds like star. And she is often connected with the morning star, which is our Venus, because often Venus will rise in the morning. In fact, this symbol, if you see over here, the eight-pointed star, do you see these? Where my mouse thing is there. These are actually, this eight-pointed star is the symbol of Ishtar. Okay, and it is a beautiful symbol. She's like the mother goddess. She's connected with love, fertility, sex. But then it's again, that was not all for her, right? Because if she was spurned in love, or if things didn't go her way, she was also the goddess of war. She had the ability to harness thunderstorms. And she was all about justice and punishment for the guilty. So if you now look at her, she's kind of like a combination of a couple of other goddesses that we have. And in fact, she has been the inspiration for the various goddesses we see now. Now we have a love goddess, and then we also have, for example, she's also connected with Aphrodite. In fact, this symbol here, this six-petaled flower, is connected with uh, the goddess Aphrodite. It's a very old symbol. You might see, you old places, they have that. They often draw that as a protection against storms, and it is linked to love, family, home. Right. This is also a symbol. If you look at the old Kabbalah drawings, like there, I think these are 1, 2, 3 circles that are intertwined. This is called the flower of life. Okay, so it's connected with Aphrodite now. So Aphrodite, Venus, Ishtar, who else? I keep forgetting. All these love goddesses, yeah, who are connected with love, fertility, and sex. But then, we have justice. That's also Ishtar's domain. But now there's a separate goddess for justice. We also have war. Athena is a good one. So we have all that. Now, we have this symbol of Aphrodite here, and these rams of Aries. We also have the doves of Venus here, which is interesting. So all the different symbols are here. In fact, it's interesting. When I first looked at the symbol, I thought, oh, this is the rose of Venus. If you ever this is interesting because this is all about astrology too. Because over a period of 8 years, if you track the movement of Venus and her orbit around the sun, it creates a five-petaled flower-like symbol. Okay, so if you Google that, the rose of Venus, it's a five-petaled flower which happens. It's like a drawing of its orbit for an 8-year cycle. Venus around the sun. So, but then I counted the petals. I'm like, no, these are six petals. But it did kind of make me think of that. And that's interesting too. So yeah, that's something. All the astrology stuff here and the ancient goddesses. But yeah, in short, we do see this. This is the goddess energy, and this is your Decan energy. This is your Aries energy here, and this is your Four of Wands. You know, so when they say completion, I would say with the completion would be the merging of the very male energy of Aries and the very female energy of Venus. This is the merging of the Empress and the Emperor. This is the marriage. This is the sexual tension. This is the wheels set in motion. This is the god and the goddess kind of, engaging in the act of divine creation, perhaps. So we have all the beautiful vibes sort of happening here in the Four of Wands. So let's look at our supporting cast because those guys are still around. This is your ace, right, which covers the whole season. We've seen the Ace of Pentacles before, so I'm just going to quickly go through it. Uh, this is the seed. This is a very material vibe. And one thing I realized when I was looking at the whole chart, if you go back to my Decan Walk, the very first video, where I was like, I wonder why they have chosen the Ace of Pentacles for this particular whole season. I was looking at the chart, and that's what I realized. If you go back to that old chart, there, I have all the the different minor arcana cards mapped out. What I noticed was, for each season, you have 3 signs happening, 3 months, right? And the middle sign, which is the fixed sign, right? So you have the cardinal, the fixed, and the mutable. That's how the 3 seasons are. Sorry, the 3 signs are for each season. And so the middle sign, which is the fixed sign for that period, that 3-month period, it coincides. That's the element that coincides. So for instance, the next one, which is for Aries, which is the cardinal sign, the next decan will be Taurus, I believe, and that is an earth sign, and it's the fixed sign, and it's an earth sign, which is the Pentacles energy. So the next season means the next ace will be that, I think it is Aries, Taurus, Gemini. Then we have Cancer, Leo. Leo is fire, right? So then the next ace will be not this one. The next season will be the Ace of Fire, which is your Ace of Wands. So that's how it is. It's connected to that sign, the middle sign, which is the fixed sign. Mystery solved. Now, if only I could find how the court cards find that connection, we will be in the home stretch, right? Yay. So anyway, coming back to our Ace of Pentacles, this is the seed energy. This is the very earth seed. The materially, the seed is now being planted here. And with the final decan of Aries, it's sort of, getting that spring is, I guess, nearly completed, and we will be going into summer at some point, right? When the next decan begins, it will be just past Easter, so I guess. Oh no, we'll be in the middle of spring, right? So the spring in the northern hemisphere, autumn in the southern hemisphere. So that's what it is. We are kind of going towards the middle of the season in a way. But yeah, the seeds will have fully been, there now. They'll be there. And we are looking at creating something in a material world. The page also brings that energy home, right? The page is, this is interesting. This page looks here. He doesn't look at this one. Says here, as I was writing the meanings, like he realizes part of the potential because he has limited vision. He doesn't see this one. It's nice. Yeah, we have all this potential of the ace and the potential of the page. But this is an interesting one because the next card, the court card now, this time is changing, because what happens with the court card is that it is for every sign, we have 2 decans will be one court card, and the last decan will be another court card. So this time we have another court card, which is your Knight of Pentacles. Up to now we had the Queen of Wands. Here we have the Knight of Pentacles. And, or in the case of the thought-based text, we have the Prince of Discs. This is air of earth. All right. And so we have again, a very interesting mix. Like the Queen of Wands was water of fire. Again, two elements which are very opposed to each other. Similarly, we have air and earth, which are elementally kind of opposed to each other. But see how this energy shows up, right? With the Queen of Wands, it showed up differently because there was the Queen energy. And now we have air and earth. This opposing energy is showing up very interestingly. See, now here in the Knight of Pentacles of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, we see this guy. He has that pentacle coin, and he's like, we see this freshly sort of plowed and ready kind of field. So let's say he has the seed and he's thinking, how should I plant it? Where should I plant it? What's the best way I can plant it? So he's really a planner. Again, his horse is not moving. So like, you need to like, yes, plant. Let's go. Cause times are wasting. If you don't plant it now, you lose out. So that's kind of his failing in a certain way, but he's also a very cautious and careful planner, and he's very practical and stable. We look at the Marseille Tarot Knight, and we see he also has a wand, which is, again, there's that fire energy connection, which is interesting, although because he's air of earth, but just like a wand's knight, he has that wand there. But there's also the pentacle. His horse, if you see, has that flesh color there. That's the fleshy, energy of the body, of the physical part. It's like the flesh energy. It's like how do you say, very mortal, very human part of them. And the horse, otherwise, we also see light blue, which we know is the color of spirituality. So we have spiritual and very, very human energies sort of merging. Horse is, again, a very interesting energy or imagery for movement and stamina and that kind of vibe, travel, transition, all of it. So here we have this knight again. See the fleshy part here as well with this hair. A lot of light blue, dark blue, and reds and greens, and all the interesting, but lots of extra light blue and all that. So he is realizing his aspirations in the material domain. So all the spiritual energy is now materializing here. He's acting upon it, and he's making it happen, right? That's because the knights are more active, right? Pages are learning, now the knights are acting upon what they have learned. He is creative, he's expressing himself. And for the short term, there's a lot of material gain, material stuff. He whatever he does, the short-term gain for material considerations, he will work for money. He is also going to chase after money. So despite all that spiritual energy, he's like, now he's in the material realm, so he's going to go after it, right? we look at this thought guy. This is the very Taurus energy. The bull here, right? And he's sitting here. All these are seeds ready to sort of sprout. So he is like totally ready to sort of take charge of everything on material plane. He is very competent. He is reliable. He's thoughtful, cautious, all that. And he wants to get things going. Like with the bull, he's ready to work hard, steadily, steadfastly, keep at it, right? Even his body color, you see, is very similar to that. Right? So you see this big sort of vibe here with all these, pods behind him ready to burst. And then we see that same energy, and we see this globe here as well, right? Like, so he has that very materialistic hold on the world. You see that globe here as well. And here he has the scepter too, right? And you also see, interestingly, wings and horns, and here's your bull, and here's the chariot, and here he is in the field with flowers and what have you, right? So again, air and earth, although are opposing energies. So air is all about the mind and the mental strength, and earth is also practical. So while the mind, the intellectual abilities can be very interesting, they're often not, often very much, clashing with the very earthy energy. You see that with this guy who's planning, not acting, but has to act. He needs to. Same, we see those vibes here as well, right? So this guy is grounded, he's steady, he's reliable, he's cautious, he's careful, right? He's a fine judge of quality, but he's also stubborn, and he's applying himself to material matters, right? So this same, gain for material considerations, he will apply himself to material matters. That's another way of saying that, right? Yeah, he is gonna be, money on his mind. He's gonna act and do things for money, about money, or material things, really, right? So that's the vibe here. So how do we see these guys come together? So look at this. This is the basic handout I used to often provide. Uh, Now I know the pictures are a little tiny here, but bear with me. This is just the best way I could put it all together. We see here these are the Four of Wands. And all this celebration, all this movement, all the suppressed passion, right? The earthy, beautiful, creative, luxurious vibe, the nourishment that comes from Venus, and the very strict, fiery passion, the hardworking, discipline, structure, rigor that comes from the Aries energy to just like kind of go get it, right? The energy of the Decan with all the beautiful, let's make this happen. The Cupid's arrow, I want to do this, I want to make this happen. The lustful, going after what one wants, kind of a thing. All of this comes here, where they are, celebrating it, where they are making it happen, where that there's stuff happening under the surface even, right? There's flowers blooming, there's a party, there is a celebration, there is a marriage of these two in a way, right? The beautiful, as I said, the Empress brings her garden, she brings her beautiful, like, okay, in a very practical way, here's a bachelor who or someone who's starting his own business or job, or his life, really. He's starting out, he's making something of himself, he's a hardworking person, he has never bothered to do anything much around him, in terms of, like, maybe he has his own house but he hasn't decorated it. But here she comes, she brings her softness, her beauty, her beautiful garden. She comes in, she looks at the house, and she's like, okay, and then she sets about decorating it. She plants a garden, she'll bring flowers, she will bring her softness into that barren space for this guy. And then, slowly, gently, she'll nourish him. And he, in turn, gives her the structure she needs, because, she's going to plant a garden. She wants, the yard to plant that garden. He's going to give that to her. So they both fulfill each other's needs in a certain way. They both provide that interesting energy that they need. There is that beautiful passion, that lust as well. And that's the beautiful marriage here. But then these guys, the supporting characters here now, we have that seed, we have the material sort of energy, the root of the material powers, and then we have that sincere grounding energy, the desire to make it happen, the let's start and do this, make it happen kind of vibe. But then the night also comes in now. Yeah. And this night now says, hey, let's go, let's make it work, let's work on this, let's put our effort in there, and let's, start things. So now this night energy is also helping this, right? So these supporting characters are not just there for, looking pretty. They do, provide that sort of necessary energy. These cards, or these card energies, are there, help this structure, not just have that foundation and stability, but also thrive and grow, and sort of, let's have something happen, like, from this beautiful union. Hmm? And so, yeah, let's party. I mean, it's an Aries. Okay, so this is my take on Venus in Aries. Um, Again, I hope you guys like this way of my this way of presenting as well. Uh, I like it because it makes sense for me for my studies, but you might prefer the other way where I had all the cards all over the place. So let me know again. I would appreciate your inputs. Uh, and yeah, and again, I would also like to give a shout out to Valerie. Oh my God. Please go check out her Substack post, and her poetry is mind blowing. It's just whoa. I mean, I have no words. It's just go read it. Go read it. I'll put the link in the description. So Venus and Aries, have fun, celebrate, party. All right. I will. I guess I'll talk to you guys soon. And yeah, this is basically Aries is wrapping up in 20th April. It's there's still a while, but yeah, this is the wrap up of Aries. So the next one will be Taurus, and that will be on the 21st of April. Ooh, it's the Five of Pentacles. Aha, that's an interesting card. Right, we'll get into it. I will see you then. Until then, stay good, be good, and play with your cards. Bye now.